The title to this video will likely seem a bit hyperbolic, but even still, I can't help but feel it holds a nugget of truth. Damian Priest is an incredibly talented professional wrestler who has greased his wheels in wrestling all over the world before ending up in NXT, where he debuted initially as Punishment Martinez. However, most notably nowadays, he's been a leading member in the Judgment Day faction. This time a year ago, it felt like WWE really wanted to push the group as a whole, going as far as to make Rhea the SmackDown Women's Champion before changing the title to the Women's World Championship, as well as having Damian become Senior Money in the Bank, which is a big point of where I want to focus on for this video. I think for Damian in particular, the briefcase has almost done more harm than good. Now, the problem with it is kinda simple. He wasn't the guy we wanted to see win, which one could argue is the point of a heel wrestler in general. However, it's undeniable that the people in attendance and online wanted LA Knight to win. This, for me and some fans I talked to, was at minimum a little disappointing to see Priest win. Now, with that in mind, I don't think him winning absolutely ruined his momentum. If anything, it did help elevate him at the beginning of it, as prior to his Money in the Bank win, he was on the losing end of quite a few matches. First, his qualifier to compete for the World Heavyweight title, and second, he even lost to Seth during an open challenge for the championship too. Thus, the Money in the Bank contract seemed to be WWE's plan to elevate Priest to that next level. But the problem with it came initially when Finn Balor was challenging Seth Rollins for the world title, where it seemed like Priest was going to cash in either during or after the match, but instead attempted to help Balor win the title for himself instead, which backfired on both occasions. This not only made Finn look like a dork, but also made it feel like Priest wasn't ready for that main event spot. In my eyes, him sliding the briefcase over to Finn here was a clear and present indicator that maybe Finn wins, and then they have dissension the Judgment Day for a few months, and then a ways after that, maybe a babyface version of Priest cashes in, or something to that end. That all of course didn't happen, and all Damian really did was get laid out by Rollins or whatever babyface was on hand, because seemingly WWE was telling us that he wasn't that guy, despite his in-ring talent, character, and ability on the microphone saying otherwise. And for a while after Finn was away from the world title, the whole group here just felt like a bunch of losers. Dominic was pretty much just there to lose matches, while Finn also lost his recurring matches for the world title, all the while Priest simply couldn't cash in his contract to win the world championship. And the only one who really kept winning in their group was Rhea, but even she stopped coming out for most in-ring segments with the Judgment Day at a point. All of these factors gradually just made me as a viewer come to the belief that Finn, Dominic, and Damian were all just losers. That said, business did sort of pick up when Priest and Balor won the tag titles off of Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, but in that time, Damian also lost a singles match to Cody, continued to fail at cashing in the briefcase on Seth, and also they even lost the tag titles to the makeshift tag team of Cody and Jay, and only really won them back from them after interference from Jimmy Uso, who kept going after Jay at the time. Well, I say at the time, but that's definitely still happening. Anyway, even then though, the Judgment Day still had to lose their match at Survivor Series against Cody, Randy, Jay, and Sammy, and better yet, Damian Priest in particular was the guy they decided needed to take the pin in that match. Like, come on brother, JD was right there zonked out by that top cage RKO spot. It just baffles me to no end how they decided that Priest was the guy to take the pin there while you're supposed to be building him as a potential world champion. And as far as Priest and Balor's current tag title run goes, it's been pretty good, all things considered, with them beating challengers left, right, and center between DIY, the Creed Brothers, and most recently British Strong Style, aka New Catch Republic. Which, as far as the matches have gone, they've all been really good and seemingly have been focused on making Priest look like the guy. The problem is, Priest won that Money in the Bank contract back in June, and it only really feels like he's being booked remotely strong as a credible challenger for the World Championship now. Like, at minimum, it took me personally half a year to be like, yeah, this is the guy, because that's how mediocre his booking has been since winning the briefcase. I've said it before, but this guy just comes out to cash in, gets thwarted by whatever babyface is on hand to hit a finisher on him, and just walks up the ramp to the back looking less and less like someone I can see as a top champion. And while his booking is one issue, the other is the title he's going after, which, credit to Seth Rollins, he's done fairly well with it all things considered. However, with the fact that the contract is to challenge for any championship in WWE in mind, why hasn't he ever teased an interaction with Roman? Don't get me wrong, I think the world would spontaneously combust if anyone in creative even suggested Reigns lose the title via cash-in, but to not put them in the same shot even once tells me Priest isn't even close to Roman's level. I would like to say also that I think Priest chasing the world title in specific can in some ways help elevate that championship. Making it a prize people are constantly chasing after is already a good thing, and Priest only having eyes for it can make it seem like the belt. But with the context that we all have as fans of the product, we know that Seth's championship only really exists because Roman hasn't dropped or split his. And that does innately lower the prestige of the World Heavyweight title and make it feel like a lesser belt. And that's not even talking about the Roman promos where he's just bashed the belt into the ground. With that in mind, Priest does feel like someone whose time as Money in the Bank holder has been somewhat wasted. It's not as bad as years gone by where the guy who holds the contract just loses every match until they cash in, but considering my expectations when he won the briefcase being that Triple H was still going to cook up something good, I can't help but feel like they've just turned the oven on recently instead of cooking him up across the whole of the year. And as such, we've reached a point where it kind of feels like they've fumbled him. However, as I mentioned before, it seems more recently like the trajectory for him is shifting. He and Balor are actually winning matches in both singles and tag team action, and while the stuff with R-Truth might not have been everyone's cup of tea, I think him ending it by putting Truth down the way he has signals to me that he's reaching almost a no-nonsense killer type character. He just wants to focus up, win matches, and hopefully soon cash in his Money in the Bank contract. I'm just going to hope they keep heating him up to get him ready for that. I genuinely think the world of Priest. He's got a lot going for him in terms of talent, charisma, and in terms of look.
Slay, bisexual Undertaker, slay!
But for real, I think he has all the tools, and once they get behind him, I think he stands a great chance at being yet another credible and fun to watch main event guy on WWE programming. But what do you think? Am I overreacting and has Priest been doing fine? Are you still excited to see him cash in? Let me know in the comments down below. And hey ho, while you're headed down that way, be sure to leave the video a like as well as subscribe for more videos like this in the future. As always, I hope you stay safe and be bold, and I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.